All right, I'm gonna call the regular meeting to order at 7 o'clock. And I'm gonna ask Jim Stewart to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess approve the minutes of the regular meeting October 4, 2022 and November 1, 2022. And the minutes of special meeting November 22nd, 2022. Each member received copies for review. Second.
Questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion the Board of Mayor and Burgess approve the monthly reports of November. Each member received copies for review. Second.
Questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we're gonna have a pretty lengthy executive session tonight, so we'll try and get to it as quickly as we can. We have some high-priced special guests, so we'll try and accommodate them. But just two things. First of all, as we all know, just having gone through the vigil for Camilla, we're now selling bracelets. Pink Justice for Camilla bracelets at Dunkin' Donuts, any Dunkin' in Naugatuck, the Loaded Goat, and the lobby of the town hall. We'll also be looking for contributions, and all the money is going to go to Crystal, Camilla's mother, who needs to relocate and probably get some therapy and a lot of other things. So it's a great cause. So we'll be pushing that hard and looking for you guys to help push it. Also, it may be necessary before the end of the year to have a special meeting. I won't know for a while, but if it is, given the holiday season, not that I can accommodate everyone's wish, but if there's to me, it doesn't really matter, but if there's a day of the week that's better, or if there's a day that's horrible or whatever, does anyone have any thoughts on that? Hearing none, I'll pick the day. All right. We'll now go to public comment. So in the room or on Zoom, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment? If so, please raise your hand, go into the chat box, or somehow make it known that you'd like to speak. First call. Second call. Last call. All right, we'll go to item 7. Kyle Kelly, are you out there for a brief report?
I am. Can anybody hear me okay?
Excellent, excellent.
I forwarded everyone my monthly report. I think it was last week. Status quo, our new ambulance we had a couple of hiccups, so we have it on the road. I'm hoping by middle of next week, it needs to get inspected, have some radios installed. We've been doing a lot of mutual aid. This past weekend, we did on Saturday, Sunday, we did about 7 mutual aid calls alone out of the 28 we did for the whole day. We're pushing along. We're getting the ambulances out the door. Our folks have really stepped up to help out, but we've been helping out some other services also where we can with not just mutual aid, but also with staffing. As of January 1st, we'll be changing who supplies who our vendor is, if you will, for our paramedics. We'll be keeping the paramedics we have. We'll just be filtering them through a different area, which will be Waterbury Hospital, which we're excited for, very excited for. And other than that, we had a pretty decent month. And we held our first, I'm hoping, of our annual food drives Hopefully that we'll be doing over the next forever years at Walmart a couple of weeks ago.
All right, does anyone have a question for Kyle? All right, we will now proceed to item A. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce Danielle Goey. Daniel, could you come forward, please? So, Danielle is our grant writer, and as I told you, she's been doing a fantastic job for us. And I'm just going to outline a few things she's working on, and then if you want to add anything, Danielle, that's fine, and we'll see if anyone has any questions for you. But Danielle has already completed, and we've submitted a Connecticut Community Challenge grant application, which is a very detailed application, a lot of work. It's very important. It's critical to our downtown development plans. She submitted it. We're getting a lot of feedback from the state. They're asking a lot of questions. We're supplementing things. There's some good signs. So we're hopeful that we will be successful this round. Remember, many of these grants, there's more than one round, but we're ready to go. People in this challenge grant are supposed to be ready to go. Round one, I would say we had the best application in round one, but it wasn't successful. But I think that was more political because we have the best application and the best grant writer. But anyway, it's a very detailed thing. Secondly, Danielle's already filed for us an open space grant application for us to acquire the land at the Wilmot property for open space that will, connect Guntown Park to Andrew Mountain Road. It's a beautiful project. It's been filed, and she really improved it off of our previous draft. Thirdly, we're going into round two of the CIF process for our industrial park project at the former Lanxess property. Now, Borough and Naugatuck Industrial Park Section 3 is what we're calling it. And again, that's a very important application for the borough. And Danielle will be filing it. When do we have to file that, Danielle?
That is by January 6th. That's a deadline.
Okay, so we're
Go ahead.
working on that. And, I guess I want to stress that, a grant application, it's not a take a form and check off some boxes and fill out some data. It's very detailed, and there's a lot going on, and it's a lot of work. And, having Danielle on our team makes me feel a lot more comfortable. We've also, this is newsworthy, new news. It just happened. And Danielle found this. There is a Connecticut DEEP Climate Resilience Fund, which is essentially state money for areas where there's high flooding, hazard potentials, and things that are related to the climate and settlement. So I don't know if anyone here other than Fran is old enough to remember, but when I was a kid, Thurston's Pond was one of the nicest spots in Naugatuck. There were 2 swimming holes, there was fishing, trout, Long Meadow Brook flows right into it. It was a great area. So, and there's a dam there. So it really fits into, the climate resilience category. So Danielle spotted this, asked us about it. So we're gonna apply and try and, clean out the sediment from Thurston's Pond and return it into a very useful area. The high school biology classes want to use it. There'll be fishing, there'll be hiking, and we'll take an area that's lost its way and return it to a beautiful spot. So, it's very exciting and, something that we never would have had a shot at, but for Danielle being out there. She's also pretty soon gonna start working on our Greenway project, across the river, that will connect the Maple Street Bridge to Greenfield. And that's a whole separate, source of funding and a whole different application. She's also, going to be, looking for earmarks from the federal government. Something that we've never really pursued before, especially with our good relationship with Rosa DeLauro. We might have a shot at some federal money to help us with one of our projects. And last but not least, she's sitting in her office looking for opportunities for the borough and keeping us abreast of ideas and concepts that could be helpful. So I'm thrilled to have her on our team. And did I misstate anything, Danielle?
No, it's nice to put like faces to names and everything. I'm coming on board with a pretty hefty portfolio. I'm coming from Waterbury and have $40 million in my belt from this year alone. I'm looking to bring some of this into the borough, get money here. I'm from a rural community, so it's really important to me to bring that back to, this area. And I'm excited to get some good work done here,
All right, does anyone have any questions for Danielle?
Well, she's doing a fine job and, you can't hit a home run every time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't hit one every time, so.
Well, we don't expect
You're
that,
still
but
looking for a single.
You have to make a walk.
we're in a much better position with Danielle on the team, I can guarantee that.
Yeah, we've definitely been doing some strategic planning. I think going forward, we have a good idea, especially for CIF and our next ask, how we're going to go in and what the best ask is. We've had ongoing discussions with the state about this. So we're being very strategic in how we're doing this. The grant application and the writing is maybe 60% of it. The other 40 is how you're doing back end politically. And so we're really hitting strong back end politically with this ask. And we're making sure our reps are all on board and we're doing great things at it. And so.
Right, and the other thing is, working on the money team, so to speak. We have Sullivan and Lashane, our lobbyists. Tommy Hyde from Naugatuck Valley Cog. We have our legislative delegation on it. And we're really, I think much more strategically positioned with Danielle on the time to have a full-fledged attack on this money. So I'm glad you're with us, Danielle.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, disc golf. I think a lot of us may have forgotten about it.
No.
By the way, Megan, we have not forgotten about pickleball. The courts are being constructed now. But in addition to the skateboard park, the pickleball courts, we're going to be doing disc golf. We already voted to spend the money to buy the equipment. And I'm just going to leave this here. It's a little hard to follow, but I'll just say this. If you go to Andrew Mountain Park, if you go to the entrance, past the dog park into the trails toward the community garden, we're going to start off with 9 holes and work our way up to an 18-hole course. But there's some work with the street department and the park department. But some of the holes go into the woods, and you take down all the stuff and a few things, and your discs go between trees, around rocks, ultimately toward the hole. So we've got some wood holes. We have holes in open fields. We're working on a water hole, but you try and make every hole a little different. So you have to have a different shot, different distances, etc. But basically it starts near I'm gonna say near the entrance to those trails. It winds its way through the property. Now, remember, we can't go on the passive open space. We have to stay on the active open space. So we've charted it out, plotted it in a way where we're consistent with the DEEP requirements. And in the spring, we're gonna start the work in the winter. And in the spring, in addition to our other projects, we will be offering disc golf.
Is it being designed where we could hopefully host tournaments?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can make it bigger, but yeah, this is, we have some disc golf people, but we also have some local champion disc golf players, who are adding input. And actually, I rejected the professional plan and took the plan from our guys, or I should say modified the plan, because they had some really good ideas to make it more fun, spectacular, difficult, whatever you want to call it, challenging, so that it will be interesting to, other communities.
Does the plan include more parking up there?
At this time, no, but the more popular, it becomes, the more that will become an issue, and we'll deal with it.
And will this potentially be monitored or need to be monitored?
Well, I'm gonna say, there's gonna be no employee working there.
Okay,
So you basically go there, for lack of a better term, tee off,
yeah,
sort of like the dog park, but, if it ever got out of control, I guess we'd have to deal with it, but, golfers are honorable people. They play by rules, and we expect everyone to play by the rules.
So this is just bring your own frisbee. We're not gonna have available frisbees.
Yeah. And they want their own, because, they,
Yeah.
it's like bowling,
It's
right?
like
Like,
bowling,
you have your
you know.
ball,
Absolutely.
okay,
so,
and the net, there are nets on there,
well,
right?
they're like
Chains. So
contraptions
they
to
like
catch
can't be
fish.
destroyed, is essentially
No,
my
they're,
question.
no, right.
Okay, hopefully not.
All right. Moving along. Charlie, you're tired. You are?
Sorry.
I won't follow you. Have it back. All right, so townwide sidewalk improvements. First of all, who's our subcommittee?
Me, Mike. Stuart.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you some things we found out, and make your job a lot easier. And the more we look into it and think about it, I think the easier it's going to be. But let me just tell you what we have, what we've done, what we need to do. And I'll throw out a potential scenario and test everyone's reaction. All right, so remember, we did, Bob, the RSRs for the roads to decide the priorities for which roads we do first. Well, at that time, we actually evaluated the sidewalks. So we have, quite a bit of data on sidewalks in the borough. And we have our new GIS hire, who we just hired this week. So over the winter, he's gonna be going back out there under Fred's supervision and I'm gonna just say completing and making sure we have some pretty solid data on pretty much all of the sidewalks in Nordic. We've also found a whole host of research on what other towns do for programs of this nature. And we've also got CCM providing us some additional research on sidewalk programs. But essentially, what I think is logical, but I'm looking for input, is that we would prioritize different sections of the town that are more important, you know, starting with school zones, safety issues, ones that are in the worst shape, and then come up with a priority list. And then, every year at budget season, we'll dedicate X number of dollars to the sidewalk program. And I'd say the most common way to do a sidewalk program is to use what I'll call a carrot and a stick. You offer people, the right to, not the right, but a program where the town will come in and pay for half of your sidewalk. You pay the rest. We hired a contractor, we get it done. We use up whatever money we allocate that year. And every year we will follow the list until we're done. And the people who refuse to participate, at some point, they will be assessed. And the town will come in and charge them 100%. Now, we don't have to do it that way. But if people are really serious about mandating, you know, a sidewalk plan, that's a way where we can definitely get it done. You know, there are other ways to do it. And I think in the end, you know, the subcommittee will make a recommendation. But the more I think about it, the easier it is. I shouldn't say easier, but it's not as crazy difficult as I thought, because as long as we're serious and we throw some money to it, you know, I'll say 150,000 a year, something like that. Within probably 7-8 years, we can have a town with sidewalks that will coincide with our roads. So if everyone is serious about it, as they say they are, we'll find a way to do it. So I'm going to stop talking there and just see what everyone thinks.
Did we get any feedback from the Board of Ed? Because I think they're an integral part of this process, especially where the school areas are.
We have their data. So
Okay,
they have what's called walking routes, and
Okay.
things like that. So we already have the data that gives us the indication of what we need and where. And I would just say we move a little quicker than they do. So my guy Fred and his assistant and Jim will have the information expeditiously, right, Jim?
Yeah, we have the.
You have a lot of it now,
We
right?
have, we have the list of streets where there are walkers. So Fred is putting that on a map, along with all the sidewalks, so we can actually look at what we have.
and I would assume that when they put their system together, that they would have analyzed what the savings would be for a bus.
I don't
Yes or
think-
no?
I don't think it's that sophisticated.
Well, it should be. Quite honestly.
Well, I would say it this way, if we have better sidewalks, we probably need less buses.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right. But I think that if we take the lead on the sidewalks, that will help, but we will elicit their input and work with them. And I just think we're further along than I thought we were, and I was very pleased with Fred's analysis.
What's the typical distance from a school to a point where they have to take a bus?
All the schools are different. It depends
Different
on
grade level.
topography and
Okay,
like the high school on Rubber Ave would be longer. They're older, the road's flatter. Western
I thought it
school more
was just like that
challenging.
mileage. I
topography.
thought it was like 1 mile.
But I'm saying all the schools are different.
Oh,
Cross Street School, we have a beautiful sidewalk.
yeah.
We have people who go to our school right across the street, they gotta take the bus,
how crazy is that?
because that street is too busy.
Right.
And there's no crossing right there.
Than that.
So you can't have kids cross the street, they don't feel comfortable there, because the busyness of the streets, another thing that to factor into the high
Right,
traffic
right.
levels, for that grade level. So I mean, it's
Okay.
different, depends on your neighborhood, and then you go to Hopbrook where loads of kids walk.
Yep.
You know, it really depends on the traffic.
Back when I chaired transportation at the Board of Ed,
there's a whole lot more that goes into it than just the sidewalk. You may have to have more crossing guards, all according to road width. All according to traffic counts, and we had to look at each area individually. For example, on Maple Hill, we thought it'd be perfect there to put sidewalks in and save almost 2 buses. And we found out with the measurements when we put them in, there would be way too many kids walking and they would never fit on the sidewalks. They'd end up in the road to walk to school. So it's more than just, let's put in a sidewalk.
Yeah, the
let's
road's
save a
not a
bus.
straight line.
So you need somebody that's familiar with transportation policies. The high school can walk 2 miles.
Yeah.
As long as the roads are fine, as long as the road width is right. And the lower schools walk less, but you really need to figure in more than just sidewalks.
Well, kids don't use the sidewalks anyway.
Right, Charlie? But the rule says you have to make them available.
I get it, but if you go on City Hill, you want 3 kids that want to walk side by side now.
Yeah.
How about doing some thinking here? 1 kid's in the road, you know?
Is traffic being considered in the list of seniority that's going to be, the sidewalks that are to be
Yeah.
fixed?
Oh, yeah.
Jim, if you have that, any information that's available, can you email it to?
Yeah, we're putting it together.
Okay.
We got it all at once, but we really need, the GIS team to complete the inventory. It won't take that long. And then the priorities will be established. All right, I skipped, by mistake. Item 10 rebound. So let me bring everyone up to speed. I put in your packet a letter. Did everyone get that letter? All right, so the notices of new assessments are going out this week. So probably over a 3-day period, starting this week, the notices will go out. This letter is included in the packet, and there's other information from the assessor's office on procedures to discuss things with them. But as I said, as we expected, there's been a dramatic increase in values. Residential real estate up 42%, apartments up 72%, condominiums 50%, and commercial and industrial up 32%. So just from a rough estimation standpoint, if we just went out and implemented this reval immediately as is, the mill rate would go down at least 10 mills, which is a good thing. But the manner in which homeowners will be impacted is dramatically different. There are people who will be getting $2,000 tax reductions, and there are people who will be getting $2,000 tax increases. Basically, commercial, industrial, and higher end residential real estate will be going down quite a bit. In the middle, it's, I'm going to say moderate. The median, if you want to use that term, median increase across town would be a $529 increase. And that impacts different people in different ways. So we have some choices, and we're not going to make a choice tonight. The way I look at it is we start the conversation tonight, we get more data, we see how it goes. We don't have to resolve everything until, we're pretty far into budget season. But the choices we have would be to implement it all at once, a major mill rate reduction. Everyone gets your benefit or pays extra all at once. We could phase it in over 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. We can, and we will play out those scenarios and have some data for you to look at and evaluate. But somewhere in the spring, we're gonna have to make that decision. I want it to be an informed decision. I want, we'll get input from a lot of people. What you're gonna see is certain groups of people are gonna wanna do it all at once. And probably an equal amount or a larger amount is gonna wanna spread it out as long as possible. We could do either side or somewhere in the middle. So this is gonna be probably the biggest issue we're gonna be tackling over the next several months. So I'm gonna bring it up every month, get you as much data as you can. We could start off by showing everyone on this board what happens to their house.
I actually don't want to see what happens to my house and someone's going on. I'd rather roll it on the blind and
All
not.
right, we'll show you, but
The same.
I could, we have a chart, you can look at any house in ours, if you want. Any street, any category, apart, there's a lot of data. And it's not, like I looked at Waterbury's data. And I think their average increase is up like over 1,000, like 1,100. It's a big issue, so I want everyone to be informed, to think about it, and we will make the best decision we can for everyone. And you're gonna hear a lot of people tearing at you from different directions.
Now, the part where it's review your packet, schedule an appointment to
Yeah.
review your data, who is that appointment gonna be with? Like,
Well, so informally, there will be phone calls, Zoom, and some in-person appointments with the assessor's office and the reval team. So
okay,
there'll be an opportunity for anyone to correct anything that's inaccurate informally without spending a lot of time or money or hiring anyone. If something's inaccurate, it will be corrected. After that process, every year in every town, we have a board of assessment appeals that meet in March, and anyone can challenge their assessment there without going to court. If they go to the Board of Assessment Appeals and they're not happy, their only recourse is to go to the Superior Court. That's the law. It's not like that's what we do in Naugatuck.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
state law. So, they're gonna start fielding calls probably late this week. And, the process will start. While it's ongoing, we'll be getting more data. So
did
we
these
can,
packets go out yet?
excuse me,
Did these packets go out yet?
they're going out this week, so
Okay, so that's why you're saying the calls will probably start this week.
I assume we'll get calls this week.
Okay, I just wanted to try to miss anything in the mail.
Are the percentage increases based on current and the last couple of years, fair market value of property?
Yes, and other factors, but yes,
Okay, so, and we all will see as the economy drops a hair, property values will probably drop a hair. What happens 6 months from now? Would that have an impact on our current numbers? Of increase? No.
it only, well, let's say this. No. If we did the reval this year and the world fell apart, we could do another reval next year. You have to do one every 5 years.
Yeah.
You can do one every year. So if I think Rocky asked the question, what if the world falls apart? Well, if it does and values plummet, we'll do, or we can do another reval.
I would think if you implement it over the course of a few years, the first year won't be so bad. And then if the market does drop, it'll be easier to do like a statistical reval and help everybody out
Right.
instead of giving them a big nut the first year. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I agree with Rocky on that. And don't forget, many years ago, Naugatuck didn't do reval for 25 years, because they kept kicking the freaking can down the road. It didn't work very well.
And I would also say that the revals we did do were not accurate. And I say that the last reval that we did, as soon as we finished reval, real property was selling at an average of 20% over our 2018 reval numbers. So the idea is to get an accurate reval. If it's accurate, it's fair. The problem is that we've had so many years of not doing it properly, and it's created a problem.
And we would never know if it's done properly because we hire people who are experts in the field. Hopefully to do it the right way.
Well, I would say it a little differently. I was screaming at the last people because I knew it was wrong. And, you know, the mayor doesn't set the values, so I would have raised them all a lot more, the values more last time. And the mill rate would have gone down more last time. And this time, you know, it would have been less dramatic than it is now. But I would say this, I really like our assessor. I like our reval company. So far, I really like them. But it's gonna be better than it was. No reval will ever be perfect. And everyone has the right to come in and try and correct information or adjust their values. But it's a necessary process. It's the only way to have people pay their actual fair value. A lower mill rate will attract more business and be better for the town overall. So, you know, there's a lot of factors. It's not a simple thing to do.
In my opinion, I would do it over a 3-year period because of unknown factors. And I think that'd be an even pace for everybody in the town.
Yeah.
That's just me. Now, everybody have a different opinion, but
Yeah.
I think a 3-year period is an easy period to.
It's a tough nut to swallow with
It
this
absolutely
economy. is
And you know
today.
what, who wants their taxes to go up 5 years in a row too, which is a good argument for the 3 years if you can't, you know, so. But I mean, I'm just saying, everyone, I've played with it now 5 times, I've come up with a different formula every time, so. I'm sure I'll keep changing my mind, but let's all talk about it. And we'll come up with a fair plan. Any questions, comments? All right. Cannabis Subcommittee update. I'm just gonna start off, and then we can, anyone on the committee who wants to speak can speak, but I've instructed, we've got some really good borough regulations. There are some other towns that have some very strict ones that we like. So what we're gonna do is give the subcommittee some very, very strict regulations to have you look at, evaluate, tweak, work on, come back, and talk about further. The committee will, of course, have the borough attorney and whatever other resources they need. But no one is expected to read the law, understand it, draft an ordinance. You know, there are some good starting points. I like the Norwalk regulation, but that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean it's the best one, but
That's what I've seen,
yeah.
Out of the 5 or 6 that we looked at, yeah.
and so is the worst.
Did you,
They're staying. And so is-
what, did you like the Norwalk one the best? Yeah, I did, but yeah,
Mhm.
So it's a good starting point.
yeah.
And I said, next time we meet, we're gonna have, Lori come on,
Lord will tell.
whether we need the borough attorney or not, let's talk about that.
We'll figure out what you want and then we'll tell them what you want.
Exactly.
Anyone want to add anything to that? Okay. 13. All right, I appoint Samuel Carmody from Eversource as a member of our LEPC NEMAC team, filling the term of Lynn Vasquez. Just so you know, when we have a problem with Eversource, we're assigned a liaison. Sam is our liaison, and he's our best Eversource contact to go and get to the right people to make sure we got what we want.
Is that the guy we worked with the last time?
No, well, he's, let me say this, he's been there about 6 months,
Always knew.
so he's pretty new.
When Lynn Best was in before she retired after 42 years, I think she had. And just so you know, the way the program goes, it has changed in the past, since the past plan that our liaison is in contact with Jeremy Lennon continuously, because Jeremy's out on the road. And he's seeing firsthand what's going on, where the people need it, where the food need it. And as opposed to Jeremy telling me, and I tell the liaison, you know, the liaison's still in contact with me, but as opposed to the way it used to be done, he's direct contact with the foreman that's on the road.
That's good.
And that helps a lot, and he's an asset, Sam is, an asset, I think in Wallingford, he sits on their board, their town board, city board down there too, so he knows, you know, what we're going through every time we have a storm. What needs to be done to make sure the residents are safe.
See, here's how it works in the field. We have a sensational street department. We have a sensational emergency management director. We have a great team in the field. Now, when there's a mess, ice, trees, things like that, our guys are there waiting for Eversource. We could clean up any storm very quickly, but for wires
I know,
and trees.
I've got a scanner, I was listening.
Okay, but here's the point, we're trying to make our own arrangement with Eversource where we don't go into statewide portals and, you know, wait for some group from Maine to come to Connecticut and figure out how to do it. We try and make direct contact and get one truck dedicated to Nautical, because with one team and our crew, we can clean up the whole town and then they can go deal with everyone else. So we haven't totally got to that point yet, but sometimes it works that way. And we are trying to establish that as the Naugatuck procedure for how to deal with a storm. And every time they've done it, Naugatuck has been cleaned up way before the other town, so.
But I just want to add, and Jan mentioned that, you know, he listens, and I know a few others listening when there's a storm, like what's going on the road. The other night, there was a unique situation in that we had a problem when the wires came down, the lines came down with a transformer. And it was one of the older transformers that has the oil cooling in it, which is a hazardous material.
Was that on Andrew Mountain?
On Andrew Mountain.
I think I heard that thing blew up all the way in Union City.
And when that happens, we gotta call in Clean Harbors to clean up the hazmat condition before they could put the pole up and everything else. So that compounded, and that's what caused the longer than normal delay. But even given that, they had to replace the transformer, replace the pole. And it was done in about 14 hours, which, you know, if you're without power for 14 hours, it's a long time. But due to the circumstance, it was a unique situation. And Dan was in contact with me all the way through. There was a lot of frustrations, as there always is during storms, because you want to get everybody up and going. But it was done. As you review it, and you do what they call a hot wash after to review what went on. It was done properly, it was done correct. given the fact that there was a hazmat condition, that had to be with it.
Did that pick up away from what we're having through that?
So,
That was part of the three accidents on Robert Avenue.
okay, somewhere,
Yeah.
Okay,
I was doing a hidden gems in Rampers.
I know you were. I was talking to Joe Provinci.
He was there.
I know he was there.
Rocky got a shout out. I should have thought of you, but I didn't know you were a Grampus guy.
who is it?
Huh?
Who is it? They're good.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna reappoint Stephen Hunt, 18 Partridge Town Road, as an alternate member of the Fire Commission, term to expire 12/1/2027.
motion to Board of Mayor Burgess to ratify the zoning commission's decision to opt out of CT State Public Act 21-29 for accessory dwelling units on residential properties. Second,
All right, Ed Carter is going to bring us up to speed on this.
So the state of Connecticut passed Public Act 2129, which included regulations for accessory dwelling units for towns. In there, they had a section that would allow towns to opt out of the regulations if it so decided by the zoning commission. That procedure was that the zoning commission would hold a public hearing, which we did on November 9th. They decided to opt out of the state regulations. And we had to state the reasons why. The reasons were parking issues, not enough research done on how it will affect Naugatuck as a whole, with taxes, staffing, police and fire, the density that it might involve. And the zoning commission wanted to retain local zoning control instead of just taking a statewide zoning.
So you want to make your own regulation, the one that makes sense versus what the state wants.
What we do currently have before the zoning commission open hearing right now to potentially amend our current in-law.
You want your own plan to accomplish that in-law approach.
Right, I don't know whether they will or not, but at this point, we have an open hearing going on to potentially look at doing it. But that's separate from the.
Right, but you're asking us to ratify their decision to not be mandated to do what the state wants.
Correct, in this, as part of the opt-out procedure.
I'm good with that, but are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, is there a time frame topped out of the state
Yeah.
regulations?
Yeah, we have to do.
We have to do it tonight,
Yeah,
or we definitely have to have a special meeting. But I would like to vote
Want
on
to
it
make the
tonight.
motion?
Well, hold on, let's, any questions of Edward Carter?
Well, right now, if I want to put grandma in my backyard in a building, which, can I do it?
On a separate building now,
If, like, you can't do it on a,
every single family residential property currently has the right to have an in-law permit per our current zoning regulations.
but it's gotta be attached to the main house.
Correct.
Yeah,
So no granny pods.
The borough opted out of granny pods several years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, for a procedure now. The state regulations allowed for detached units, allowed for attached units that didn't have a doorway between them and various other things. So when the commission looked at it all, they decided we may or may want some of them or none. But currently, we have regulations that allow every single family residential unit potentially having an apartment today.
So many years ago, I added on a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom and a bedroom. But I was told that there had to be doors coming from the main house into there.
That's in our current regulation.
That's the same thing right now?
Currently, that's in our regulations.
But you're gonna go back, and I was in the meeting, so you're gonna go back and look at the blood relative thing and. See if we can
That's-
tweak it up a little
That has
bit,
been presented in our draft, and it's up to the zoning commission to make those decisions.
because I'd like to see that happen.
We have a public
Just so you know.
hearing, by all means, please come and give your opinion at that public.
Well, I don't have a question for Ed, but I was very pleased to hear that the zoning commission decided to opt out unanimously
Yes,
across the whole commission. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is nothing but a huge overreach by the state to try to come into the separate towns throughout and try to control what we do in our own town.
Absolutely.
which is one of the main reasons they stated they wanted to keep local.
I think we all feel that way.
Yeah,
So let's vote.
let's vote.
So let's see, do we have a motion?
Yep.
Yes,
Are we, so Ed, are we good with that motion?
The one I saw, yes.
So what we're doing is ratifying the zoning commission's
Yeah, it
decision.
must be by a 2/3 vote. And then we will send
We're
it.
going 10-0.
I understand, but I'm just letting you know what it must be.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Send that message back.
Get a big gavel for that one.
Tell us how you really feel.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor Pete Hess to sign a contract for vehicle GPS service to Verizon Connect under the GSA contract pricing as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart.
Second.
James,
So we do currently work with Verizon Connect. What they've done is they're changing the company that they work with, that supplies the units and does the actual labor and work. So they're providing us this new contract, which would cover the same number of 25 units. And they're going to come in and swap out all the hardware in each of the trucks. So this actually is in the IT budget, and I talked to Jim Calapolitis, and he is good with it. He said it's within his budget, and he has no issues.
What was the old price?
It was approximately this number, maybe I think it was more than this, but close to it. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna cover all the vehicles.
It doesn't cover all our vehicles. We're looking at expanding. We're looking at getting more, but obviously we want to stay within the budget.
all right, any questions? Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess refer to the joint boards of Mayor and Burgess and Board of Finance. The end of year transfers for 2021-2022 budget is recommended by Allison Burgess.
Second.
Allison, you can't see you over there behind the screen.
I was showing my best part, my new shoes.
So, all we're doing is referring this to the joint boards?
Correct. In the last finance board meeting, we did the transfers within the departments to balance out all the line items. And now we're moving forward with the smaller population of transfers between departments to do the final balancing. Our projected end of year for fiscal year 22 is going to be a very small surplus. And this is just going to be balancing out all our line items.
So we're not gonna go through it tonight, we're gonna refer it there, and at that meeting, we'll go through all the transfers.
Correct.
Okay. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Controller Allison Bruce to refund the following tax refunds approved by tax collector James Goggin as of right. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're now going to our second public comment. So in the audience or on Zoom, if anyone would like to speak, please make it known. And Lee will locate it. So what do we have, Lee?
Melissa Leonard?
Melissa Leonard, you are recognized.
Hi, good evening. Just a quick question. Did we get the grant for the water company property on the east side?
Yes.
Okay, and so that's good. Great, a done deal. Fantastic. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other public comment? Last call for public comment. All right, hearing the mayor and Burgess comments. I guess I would urge some precision in your comments, but I want to Unless you, do you want to do executive session before that? And then go to Burgess comments that we, okay, let's do that. Let's go to item 21.
Motion to recess to executive session at 7:54 for discussion on the following: real estate, Bank of America building parcels A, B, Y, and Z, Marvin Industrial Park, Section 3, Greenfield, acquisition of land for downtown parking, tax incentive, tax incremental financing district, sale of the former recycling center, Rubber Avenue, Church Street, Maple Street, V&A building easement, 39 Brighton Road, personnel, building inspector, assistant building inspector, public works director, collective bargaining, Naugatuck Administrative Negotiation Association Agreement, police union, fire union, and pending litigation, inviting in Nick Rella and John Waller.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Showtime. I'm gonna reconvene the regular meeting at 9:26 p.m. And we're gonna go to Mayor and Burgess comments. Charles,
Nothing at this time?
Dorothy,
I have a few.
okay,
So, I attended the, or a Zoom, the planning commission meeting, and in that discussion, they're having a public hearing on December 14th. For the, cannabis regulations. So, I guess that's based on the regulations, they have to have a public hearing, so they're having that. And then, I attended the CABE CAPS conference, the Board of Ed conference. And, you know, there was some good
you're on
information.
our side now.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
They keep trying to talk me into the other side, but I'm like, no. So, the one thing that, with this project that Marilyn and I have been working on for the, changing the behavior, which is, the bullying tactic, we actually were put in touch with a public relations person who basically handled the Newtown school issue and a bunch of the recent Southington issue and everything else. And Jill's gonna work on some grant funding, so that perhaps we can get in,
Who's Jill?
Jill Mahoney,
Okay,
to, perhaps maybe we can, get a meeting with, public relations.
so let me ask you this, is there a specific grant that you're aware of?
No, not yet, but Jill writes grants all the time for parent leadership, so I think she'll know where to look. So anyway, I don't know if anybody remembers Ann Baldwin. She used to be an ABC reporter. Well, she's now the public relations specialist for CABE. She has a contract with them. And so she basically said, you know, come on into the office and we'll talk about strategy on how you can position yourself in presenting this to the community that would make sense. So that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. Go ahead.
Fran?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that, retired Lieutenant Nori Gabriel passed away this past weekend at 25 years. And, great guy, always kind words, gonna miss his calls once or twice a week, where he say, hey, I wonder, what's going on? What's going on? I really, I'm gonna miss him.
When's the week?
Thursday.
Where? Like 4 o'clock or 7?
I want to commend our police department and the work they did this past month.
Yeah.
We did that.
Great job.
Great job.
Bob? I'm good. Mike,
No comment.
George,
Fran stole my comments, so I'm good.
Megan,
He also took mine, but I'll add on
Might as well
to,
reiterate.
I'll add on to our first responders as well, that were out on that call. Just kind of keep them in our thoughts too. Sure, they have a lot on their minds right now.
Mhm.
Rocky,
I think you all received an invitation, December 10th, from 2 to 8 is the grand opening of the Historical Society. Please feel free to stop down, take a look. There's still more things that need to be done, but it's getting in shape for.
so
What's
what's,
going on December 9th?
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I thought it was December 10th.
No,
But pre-opening galleries,
No, the grand opening is December 10th.
yeah, but
The pre-opening tonight.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you were invited, I didn't want to insult you.
When is the one on Saturday?
One on Saturday is from 2 to
It'll be hysterical.
8,
Two?
2 to 8. The donor reception is from 6 to 8:30. Also, breakfast with Santa at the rec center, Saturday the 17th, it's $8, come down and eat something with Santa. And since we're ending the year, I want to thank DPW for all they've done, not only for all the parks, but of course for the dog park, which is near and dear to my heart. If we need something, they're always there to help us, especially and the Historical Society, especially Mike Massacott. He's just a gem. You know, you need something done, he gets something done. He's a man of all trades and an expert, I think, in all of them. You know, also, what Kyle didn't mention was that us going to Waterbury Hospital for paramedics is going to save us quite a bit of money every year because the hourly rate is lower. We're also going to be buying our drugs from Waterbury Hospital, and with the amount that they buy, you know, we're going to have very good discounting on getting drugs from them. So it's a very good thing. Congratulations to Lieutenant Pedanici. Just like 3 days before his accident, we're in the industrial park having a long conversation. So congratulations to him on retiring. And to Miss Norio, we've had some good conversations too. That's it.
So,
So
thank you. Nancy, are you there? We have no retirement for tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay, okay, thank you. It was on my first agenda, so I got.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Retired, so, okay. All right, we will now go to matters emanating from executive session.
Do you want me to announcement about the bracelet? I don't know if you did.
I did before, but I'll do it again. Under mayor's comments, I want to remind everyone that starting tomorrow at all Naugatuck Dunkin' locations, the Loaded Goat and the first floor lobby of the town hall for sale are pink Justice for Camilla bracelets. And we encourage everyone to not only get a bracelet, but to promote them and to do all we can to help Camilla's mother, who's in a pretty rough spot. So I really feel that the community has come together and they're really behind her. But we still have to get it done. So let's get it done. Matters from executive session. I will entertain a motion that I be authorized to enter into an easement agreement with David and Catherine Zuzik at 39 Brighton Road. With regard to a 0.22 acre garden area in their rear property that is borough open space.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, we will now go to item 21.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.